I'm so glad that you made it here today. I am getting ready to talk to you guys. Hey, I am very excited because I haven't been with you guys in a couple of days, and it's been rough. It's been real rough for your girl. It's been rough. Okay, I have not been on my live with y'all in a minute. I've been skipping days. But there's a reason for that, and it has the absence that I've taken has not gone in vain, I want to say, because I'm getting ready to pour some stuff out on y'all. I'm getting ready to pour some stuff out on you, okay? And when I say I'm going to pour some stuff out on you, I mean I'm going to pour my heart out on you. Because so much stuff is going on in this world, and we have so many nasty demons that we're dealing with. I'm talking about nasty devils that we're dealing with. And I want to share just some things. Oh, so many things. I don't even know where to start. So first, I was in my meditation, and knowledge was just really on my mind. Knowledge was just on my heart. And so I want to talk to you about the relationship that I've developed with knowledge and how I've actually done that and what it's been doing for me, because it's been really helping me to have a relationship with knowledge and to be able to direct it in a specific way. And I want to talk to you about it because I think that you are doing this in your life, or maybe you're not. And if you're not, it's problematic. It's going to be extremely problematic for you to live a satisfying life or to accomplish anything. So we got to talk about this. What is your relationship with knowledge, and how are you directing the information that you acquire throughout the course of your life? Are you seeking after certain information? And if you are, or if you are not, why or why not? Because your purpose is specifically tied to who you are. And who you are is specifically tied to what you know. But what you know is specifically tied to what you're teaching yourself, what you're allowing yourself to encounter. What are you allowing yourself to consume and digest and comprehend and understand? Because as we move through this life, as we have this requirement for us to bear the burden of life, you're breathing every day. And that requires something of you. Your breath is one of the greatest things that you have. And to whom much is given, much is required. So for you to be alive and breathing this beautiful air, this energy, this prana, this chi that we are living off of, you have a requirement to participate in the universal activities, the things that are going on in this universe. You're required to participate in that. Whether you know it or not, you are participating in it. And your knowledge and understanding of how you're participating in this show, what role you're playing. Are you a key role? Are you a key player in the story that's playing out called your life? Or are you treating it like a spectator sport? Because knowledge is infinite. It is, it's delicious. And I'm going to talk about myself. Like I said, I'm going to give you a picture of the way I fell in love with information. And I really can't even say why. why it happened. I'm just going to say that's my destiny. I'm supposed to be who I am. But I used to read a lot. The first book that I ever read and I understood what words could do, the power of words. I was reading The Coldest Winter Ever. Hold up. Dang. I thought I had the book in here, but it's in my room. I'm not going all the way to my room. But anyway, y'all know the book by Sister Souljah. The book sparked an imagination in me like none other. The way the words were written by Sister Souljah, they were captivating. When I was reading the words, I was traveling to the place where she was taking me. Like, midnight was my boyfriend for real, because I was, what's her face? The girl in the story, Winter. So when I began to understand that words and how you present them, who you're talking to, your audience, when you're painting pictures, there's a learning that's going on. There's a traveling to a place. I don't know anybody that, if any of you travel or how much you travel, but traveling teaches you. It gives you a certain amount of knowledge because you can experience different things. And as you experience different things, you're learning. But when I found out that this is what words could do, I began to fall in love with how language felt. I love the way it felt for me to be able to go to another place or to be able to take someone to another place using nothing but my words. And so I started to realize and start to pick up in other places where words were becoming more useful to me than I thought. Reading, my mother used to say, is fundamental. And I started to really understand why that was the case, because I would be taking a test in school. I would be doing one of those standardized tests. And whether or not I was good at that topic, because I was good at reading, I knew I was going to pass the test. Because a lot of times, tests, especially multiple choice, they give you the answers in the question if you're reading it properly. Those reading summaries that used to give you, and they give you a whole reading assignment, and then you have to go through these questions to see how much of that reading assignment you comprehended. Those exercises, those brain exercises, I loved them when I was in school. I would go through a whole thing. And when I got to the questions, I used to love going back, making references, doing my outlines. Outlines are another thing that I felt really connected to somehow. I felt like doing an outline was the perfect way to express myself, express how I feel. Because an outline, it gives you the opportunity to introduce an idea or a thought. It gives you the opportunity to spell it out and draw a conclusion. And it gives you this appreciation for the idea itself, because you have it all outlined and you have a complete understanding of what this idea is. And so I just started to pick up on patterns. I started to pick up on word patterns. A lot of people are really sensitive to numeric patterns, but I became sensitive to the patterns in words, like descriptive words. When I would be in a book, I started to notice that if somebody were going to describe a place where they were going to use the most descriptive words, and that was a pattern in books, novels. Every time I picked up a novel, I was going to get the most descriptive words that I could get to get that scene embedded into my head. They would describe the smell, the sight, the feel, the taste of the air or the taste of the food. Very descriptive words to get me to travel to where they are. And it was almost like every time I read the descriptive word, it would light up one of the five senses, whichever one was applicable. And it became an experience. And it was like, wow, this is great. This is awesome. So the pattern started to make more sense. And then my understanding of myself and how I was able to apply knowledge began to start flowing. And it became like a second nature, is what I want to say. I knew how to learn. I knew how to teach myself specifically what I wanted to know. I could go into any book and pick up just about any concept. I'm not necessarily a numbers person. I don't do numbers a whole lot because I prefer words. But I began to build my personality based on the way I was building my knowledge and my understanding. I was able to understand who I was because I knew how I was learning. I knew why I was learning. I could start feeling my way through the information. I had a tough time when I was in college because in college, they were teaching me things I didn't necessarily want to know. I wanted to know generally what it was like to be in business. And so I majored in business. And I also majored in psychology because I was very interested in the human mind. But after a while, I started to realize they were teaching me things that they wanted me to know. And I couldn't be interested in that. I could not be interested in it because my mind needed to be invigorated again. Like when I was reading The Coldest Winter Ever. I felt like me being in school should be no different than me being in my free spare time. If I can learn something by experiencing whatever was going on in Sister Soldier's mind, I know I can do the same thing by reading this book. Even though it's technical information, I still want to be emotionally stimulated by this technical information. And that's what I began to thrive for. I began to look for technical things that would still make me feel like, oh my God, I need to know this. Oh, this is so invigorating to read. It's like lighting up my senses. It's lighting up my neurons, It's still lighting off the sensors in my brain where I'm indulging more into even more technical things. And I began to teach myself about computers. I went to school for computer networking systems. And I decided to learn about computer programming a little bit. And I was just very interested in very key specific things because my mind was trying to take me to a place. I had this vision, like how Sister Soldier had this vision in her mind about what love was and about what her background was. I believe The Coldest Winter Ever was a bit of a self-portrait of herself. And I began to build on that because I recognized that I had to have a relationship, this type of relationship. It had to be like a love relationship with information. And the only way for me to do that or to accomplish a heightened sense of intelligence or for me to feel smart was for me to love it. I had to love it the same way I love that story, the same way I love the imagery there. When I read books about like The Seat of the Soul, this is another book that's very descriptive in how it describes what the human spirit is. Now, there's something I've always been interested in. I've always been interested in how the mind works, why it moves the way it does, because I've always wanted to know that about myself. And so I had this love for the information that I was reading. So I started to go even deeper into other things, started to learn about history, started to learn about science, started to learn about how do I want to say this? Etymology, energy, universal laws and systems, teaching myself about theory, data manipulation, certain things, because I wanted to understand more about myself. I studied data manipulation because I knew that I was nothing but a big collection of data. Everything that's in my mind, everything I'm collecting from my environment, it's just a database. It's just a database. And if I want to be able to live my life in such a way that I can manipulate myself the way I manipulate my environment and the people in my environment, I need to know how to manipulate information, how to direct the information. Because when you have acquired so much knowledge in your mind, you ought to be able to move with it, move on it, and direct that information as to how it's going to work for you. There ought to be a symphony, an orchestra of perfectly planned harmony using the information that you've been able to acquire in your mind. Look at the music like you look at the information. If you can layer notes on top of certain notes, on top of certain sounds to create an entire song that makes perfect sense when you hear it. You've got vocals, you've got drums, you've got horns, you've got piano, you've got all kinds of different notes and harmonies and tones. It comes together to make a song. That's the same thing you're doing with the information you're collecting in your mind. You're manipulating it. You're manipulating it and you're layering it so that it creates the song of your life. The information that you've acquired about your safety, about your mental health, about your finances, about your love life, about your health and wellness, about your personality or your socializing, the way that you date. Is certain information that you've been acquiring your whole entire life about all these different things. And so it's your duty, it's your responsibility, it is your right. You understand? It really is in your best interest for you to go through your database and start to layer that information in ways that it creates this song that is a harmonious existence in your life. All these things are not the same. All these things do not function the same. All of these things require different parts of you. They require different energy from you. But if they become in balance and harmony with who you are, then it creates a beautiful sound. It creates music. If you know how to use the information and direct it. Don't you know that the Bible describes Satan as the angel of music? Because he knew that he was able to manipulate energy using sound, using these things that we all hear. It's a universal language, and we all ingest it when we hear music. Why do you think the music industry is so powerful? Because of how and why it manipulates energy using sound. Everybody can hear sound, unless they have this dysfunction in their ear. But when you receive tones, they move inside of you. These waves, they move inside of you. They resonate with your wave patterns, with your frequency. That's the reason why you listen to certain types of music. But what I'm saying to you is that having this awareness of information, having this awareness of what you can do with the information. Information is light, my friends. Information is light. And you can actually give that light. It's like whatever you put your knowledge into or your time and attention into, this is what you are charging with your current of energy. It's a currency. A current of energy is what you're giving to anything that you're thinking on, anything that you're acting on, anything that you're consuming. This is a currency. It's a current of energy that you are feeding into the environment that creates your life. It creates your experience. It creates how you know and understand yourself in your environment, So, understanding this about information is really what allows you to use your currency in such a way that it's benefiting you. The information that you give to yourself and the information that you allow yourself to give out is your currency. It is the current of energy that you put into your expertise, your skill, or your knowledge and understanding about yourself, about your purpose, about where you're going, about what you're doing, why you're doing it. What are the reasons? What is exciting you? When you read a book, what is it about that book that's exciting you? I don't know if y'all can tell, but I like to think. This book is definitely, I really hope and I expect to be invigorated by this book when I read it. Why? Because it's a book about thinking. And thinking is what I do. Thinking is what I like to do. I like to read. I like to think. I like to ponder on things. I like to build theories and manipulate data. And so when I read this, I know it's going to light off a whole bunch of stuff inside of my mind when I read it. And that's the intention that I have. It's the reason why I picked up this book. What books are you picking up? Are they lighting you up? When I finish reading this book, I plan on implementing all of the great ideas that I got out of this book. I plan on changing the course of my life with this book, because this book has information in it that I've never encountered before, because I've never read this book before. I just picked it up. But once I read it, the information inside of it is going to serve me. Why? Because it invigorates me. This feeds me energy. And when I receive the energy, what am I going to do? I'm going to alchemize it. I'm going to transform it. I'm going to develop it into something that is mine. Okay? I'm going to put my energy or my currency on it. I'm going to add the value that I have onto whatever I felt was valuable out of this. And then it becomes a part of me. It becomes something that I now, whatever I didn't know before, I know now. So when I go out into my environment and I start to interact with people, people may require a certain part of me. That's what this book is talking about. Thinking about the way you interact in certain aspects of your life in certain ways. So when I read this book and when I go out into my environment, I plan on being in a social atmosphere where I'm networking. So I'll be able to use the ideas in this book to help me network better. And what is that going to do? It's going to change the course of my life. Because if I'm networking in an efficient way, in a well-informed way, in a passionate way, because I've taught myself, I've learned, I've studied, I've practiced. When I go out and I do start to do the proper type of networking that I aim to do, this book will have changed the course of my life. Why? Because I'm intentionally reading it, because I intentionally plan to implement whatever great ideas I got from this book. Whatever it did, this energy, when this light entered into my mind, when it went into my mind's eye, that's the way you receive spiritual light. When you open your physical eyes, you see physical light. When you open the eye of your mind, then you receive light. Information is how the eye of your mind sees light. It's information. And so because I want to receive light, I open my mind's eye, okay? And then I say it with my intentions that I'm going to acquire knowledge using this. I'm going to acquire knowledge that I know I need to know in order for me to move forward and project myself further into my future. How am I doing that? I'm learning. Okay? I'm teaching myself what I need to know in order to do that. In order to reach myself to a goal, I must read and acquire knowledge and information specifically relative to what I am attempting to do. If I want to network because I want to launch a successful business and I want to introduce and market my business and my services and my products and my programs, I know that I need to strategically network, not just go out there willy-nilly without a plan, without an elevator pitch, without talking points. I need to educate myself, because what I need to know intentionally is going to project me further once I've learned it, once I've practiced it, once I have focused and meditated on it, once I have worked on it. Do you understand? I'm going to teach myself intuitively how to accomplish these specific goals that I'm creating for myself. This is how we create our reality, you guys. We're creating our realities. We're doing this by way of thought, thinking. You're thinking your way through this. Okay? You're feeling your way through this. This is how we are going to usher ourselves into our future. This is how we are going to know and predict our future. You know how you predict the future? You look into the past. I can tell that right now, my future will be successful. Why? Because I know that my past actions have prepared me and planted enough seeds for my future to be successful as successful as I intended to be. And as I am putting in the work, I can see that I'm setting myself up for success in the future. I will be the only person to stand in the way of that. Okay? So when you are learning, developing your personality. I could talk about my personality. One thing about myself that I used to think was a flaw, you guys. Come on, I used to think this was a flaw about myself. That I talk a lot. Why? Because a lot of people in my environment used to tell me that I talk too much. They used to always say, oh my God, my mother being the main one. You just talk. All you do is talk. You talk so fast. All you do is just talk. You just go on and on and on. My mother used to talk to me like that. And I used to always, she also used to say I talk too loud. A lot of people say I talk too loud. But me knowing intuitively who I am, I didn't allow people telling me, oh, y'all talk too much. Or you too loud. Regardless of what everybody was saying, I knew that I loved to talk. You think I gave a damn about somebody not liking to hear me speak? I love to speak. I love to talk. And I like to be loud. Why? Because I feel like there's no reason for me to talk if you cannot hear me. If you can't hear me, why am I speaking? So yeah, I'm going to project. Projecting has never been a problem of mine. If you can't tell, I don't have a problem projecting. I love for myself to be expressed and to get something off of my chest. So what am I going to do? I'm going to express. I let it out. So when I used to hear these negative things about something that I knew I loved about myself, maybe I needed to be refined a little bit. But I damn sure knew I did not need to be shut down. And I was not going to allow that to happen. I've been a talker my entire life. I don't see that changing. That now I have refined myself. Now I've developed my personality, because as I became in touch or more in tune with my spirit, I learned that my speaking was a gift and my talking was not in vain. But I also learned that I was at times inappropriate with how I was talking, the things that I would say, how I would say things. I had to refine my talent and my gift for speaking and talking. I had to learn more about the ways of communication, because talking was my main gift. Also, singing is another thing that I love to do, and it's a part I feel it's very connected with my ability to speak. Speaking and singing, they're both a projection that come out of your throat. And you know, that throat chakra, it's a form of vocal expression. And I love to vocally express. I don't care what it is, speaking or singing, I'm going to do it. And yes, I will bust a note on you. I used to sing in the praise team at my church and I used to love it. Okay, but anyway, let me get back on point. I did not allow anybody to shut me down. because I knew that that was what I loved. So I'm going to tell you something about me developing my personality. I love me some constructive criticism. I even like it sometimes when it's not constructive, because sometimes when people are mad at you and they're not trying to be constructive, they'll tell you the doggone truth. And see, I'm not a fool. I know how to take bitter anger, nastiness, somebody verbally attacking me, verbally abusing me. I know how to take that and alchemize it. If you said something that was true about me, no matter how nasty and dirty and trifling it was, I'm going to accept it and I'm going to use it to my benefit as I develop my personality, as I heal myself, and as I move on from whatever it was that you said to me. I'm going to allow myself, if you called me, I'm not going to dog myself out. I don't like to verbally express negative things about myself. But if there are some things that I heard in what you said that I know are true, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to take heed to it. And I'm also going to send you about your way with much thanks and gratitude for you being real and handing me the gift of truth. And even if I don't like you and you don't like me, I still know what to do with that truth that you gave me. I'm going to use it to change my heart and my soul. And that's a gift. Because if I become a better person, even after you was being an asshole, thank you. I'm not going to allow my personality to become defective or dysfunctional because I was not able to know and understand the truth about myself. So I began to refine my talent and my gift for communication. I began to understand the power again of communication. Do you know what it does when you change the tone of how you speak to people? Do you know what it does when you change the wording of what you're trying to say when you're saying something difficult or possibly offensive? Do you know what communication can do? How you can win when you're able to express a thought, when you're able to express an idea in such a way that it can be well received? These are the powers of words, personality, intentions, education, personal development. There are things that you can do with the energy of your words. That's the reason why your throat has an entire energy center in it, over it, coming out of it. It's a whole energy center you got right here. A whole energy center. That's the reason why your power, come on now, up here in your chakra, crown chakra. It's a whole entire energy center right here. Do you know how hot your head gets when you stand out in the sun? Do you know how hot this head gets when I stand out in the sun? Oh my God. When I stand out in the sun, the energy. Do you know that heat is energy? When your head get hot, my poor baby last night, we was in the car. He had sweat dripping. I was like, I got to get my baby up out of this heat. Sweat dripping, that head hot. Nothing but energy. It's a whole energy center here. And you have the same going all the way down here. Your heart. Do you know how powerful the vibrations of your heart are? What you can do with the vibration that comes out of your heart when you get it when you allow it to balance with the power of your mind. And then also the energy and the power of your thoughts, your throat chakra, when you're either singing or speaking. Don't you know your tongue is powerful? There's energy there. All these things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. Don't let me start being goofy. All of those work together for the good of those that love themselves. Let me say that properly. When you love yourself, you allow your thoughts to be expressed. When you love yourself, you allow your voice to be expressed. When you love yourself, you allow your heart to be expressed. When you love yourself, you trust your gut to be expressed. When you love yourself, you allow your being to be expressed, and you protect yourself for those expressions to occur. You protect your mind so that its expressions can occur. You protect your thoughts so that your throat can even allow the expression. You want yourself to be expressed because this is who you are. This is how you're developing. This is how you're moving with the information that you've acquired in your database. The information comes out of these chakras. This is how you're projecting your light. This is where the light comes from. This is where the light collects. This is where the light spills out. It's coming out of you every time you allow yourself to be expressed. Whatever you have collected. Now, you have to intentionally understand now, intentions are very powerful. Intentionally develop your personality. Because you want your personality to be able to do certain things. Jeez. You want the effect of your personality to be able to carry you somewhere. Y'all help me get these lips together. They too big. I'm trying to get them out of here. You want your personality to be able to do certain things for you. You want your personality to be able to serve you. You want it to have a certain effect on people so that those people are having a certain effect on you. This is your personality development. It's going on the information that you've collected. Now, one thing about me, the way I develop my personality, is I like to speak to people about who they think I am. I like to talk to people about what they see in me, what they expect from me, a lot of different things. Because as I see myself through the lens of you, I'm able to develop a clearer picture, not only for you, but for me as well. Because if I ever was lost about who I am, I go and find me a few mirrors to look at, almost like being in a circus. I like to look into those distorted mirrors. Because even though the image is distorted as I'm looking at myself through you, because you're certainly distorting the image. It's certain that you don't know all the aspects of me the way that I know the aspects of me. It's certain that me looking at myself through your eyes, or through your opinions, through your mind, is certainly distorted. But because I'm more powerful and I know myself, I'm very in tune with who I am, I can look at myself through the mirror or the lens of you, and I can clear the distortions. I can fix the image. I can reduce the noise. I can clear up the static, put the picture into focus. Because if you got me fucked up, I'm going to let you know what it is. I'm going to let you know who I am off top. And so you're going to understand more about me. I'm going to understand more about me. And I'll be able to express more about me. Because I'm not going to let you get me fucked up. I'm not going to let you misunderstand who you thought I was. I'm going to set it straight. And I'm going to make sure that I'm okay with the projection that I just offered to you. And that's how I check myself. That's how I develop my personality. That's how I direct my personality. Because depending on who you are, you need to have a certain understanding of me. And I'm going to give you that understanding of me. I'm going to give you the understanding of me that you need to have based on a relationship that I'm building with you. If you're a coworker, you best believe you have a place. And I'm going to put you there. I'm going to make sure you understand that this is who Sharice is, and this is who Sharice is definitely not. Sharice is not here to play with you today. Sharice is not here for your attitude today. Sharice is not here to have you telling me what to do today. Sharice is here to develop her experience. Sharice is here to learn. Sharice is here to work. Sharice is here to express her ideas. Sharice is here to listen to yours. But what Sharice is not here to do is to socialize and to do all of this, getting into her personal life and all this other stuff. I'm going to tell you who you are, and I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you who I am, and I'm going to tell you where we are in this whole beautiful relationship. And this is what I call drawing out the lines. The Bible speaks of architecture. I think. I could be getting that from somewhere else. But you understand that your master of yourself, or your self-mastery involves you being the architect of your relationships, the architect of the reality of your relationships. You are responsible for laying out the boundaries, the layers, or the lines of the groundwork of the building that you're trying to build, building a relationship. And so for me, building my personality, it's all having to do with, how do I want my personality to be perceived in this particular incident, or in this relationship, or in this environment? How do I want to come off to you right now? Because if I need you to know that I need you to know that I'm not about that bull, I'm getting ready to give you that understanding right now. I'm going to lay out them lines right now. If I need you to know that I'm loving and receiving and kind and caring, I'm going to lay that understanding out for you right now. If I need you to understand that this is a business relationship, and I'm here to be very matter of fact with you, and I'm here to let you know what can be negotiated and what cannot, I'm going to lay that out for you. This is something that I also want to talk to you about being intentional in developing your personality is how you handle your emotions. Your emotions require something different of you for all the relationships that you build. And what I'm going to tell you is that there's, for me, a duality. And let me place my words very carefully. There's a duality that's very relevant to building relationships. Each one of us has a light and a dark side. And in building relationships, those light and dark sides must be used. When you're doing your shadow work, I don't know if anybody's ever heard that particular term, but having this light and dark side to your personality, to your being, it is very useful in the development of your personality and your relationships. Because in your emotional development, as you engage in these relationships, to manage those emotions, to be emotionally intelligent, there's a duality required. There's something you must do with the duality and the light and the dark. For me, it's more of a hot and cold type of duality. Yes, light and dark, but also hot and cold. And for me, what that means is there are some things that I will allow myself to engage with in my life. And those are the things that I feel are my hot things. Those are the things I'm passionate about. Those are the things I care about. Those are the things that I am going to focus on. Those are the things that I am intentional about having a participation in. Those are my hot things. Okay? But then there are things that are cold, where I will not allow myself to engage with those things. Those are the things that I stay away from like the fucking plague, okay? There are some things, some energies that I simply do not allow myself to intertwine with. Though that's my cold. Now, duality for me in this particular instance doesn't really have a middle ground. There are some things where I will censor them because a certain amount of that energy I can take. It may be a little uncomfortable, but I can wiggle it if there's a purpose behind, or if there's an intention behind that particular energy being there. And so I will allow that to happen. Like, for example, if there's a person in my life and I'm unsure about them being there, I will play with that energy for a while until I'm certain about the decision I want to make about it. If I want to place it in a hot place, or go ahead and banish it to the cold, my cold place. I have people who have made it to my cold place. I have habits that's made it to my cold place. I have sort of ideas and beliefs that have made it to the cold place. And then there are other ones that have made it to my hot. And this is how I go throughout my life, sorting out energies. informational database. I'm accepting and rejecting. I talk to you guys about that a lot. Accepting and rejecting. Okay? There are things that you will accept. There are some things that you will reject. You're hot and you're cold. And for me, I make it very simple like that. There's only a few things that make it on the in-between gray area. But I like to simplify my life to a certain mathematical either addition or subtraction. Either it's a plus or a minus. Either it's a hot or a cold. Either you're in or you're out. As far as this energy or this habit or this idea or this belief is concerned. This action, either it is or it ain't with me. I don't allow a whole lot of in between to happen. And I'm very intentional about my decisions. I have timelines for decisions that I make. Because I know that I need to make a yes or no decision. I know that that's the way that I develop my personality and how I handle my emotions. In order for me to remain emotionally stable, I need to know, is this a yes or a no? Because if it's a yes, I'm going to emotionally feel a certain way about it, and I'm going to feed it my currency. I'm going to feed it my current of energy. If it's a yes. But if it's a no, I cut off my currency. I no longer am feeding it a current of energy. I cut it off. And because I know that I need to make that decision so that I can direct my energies in a harmonious way, I don't allow myself to play with it for too long. Decisions must be made. Decisions must be made about how I am proceeding further into my future. How am I experiencing this relationship? How am I building this relationship? Is this a yes or a no? For example, can I trust this person? I'm going to give myself some time to play with that question in the gray area for just a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, all I have is the time that I've allotted for that playing to happen as I'm observing this energy. Can I trust this person? That's the energy I'm looking for. Do you have trustworthiness as a part of this relationship? And if I'm playing with that idea for a little minute and I decide that that's a yes, then I will put it into my hot area and I will be able to feed that my current of energy, my currency. I will be able to allow myself to engage in that thing that I've made a positive ruling on. And I want you to understand something about judging. You are a judge. If you are the co-creator with the judge, okay, which is the universe, judging everything that happens with the scale of justice and truth, empirical justice and truth. I'm talking about your ability to do the same thing. You are a judge in your life. No, you are not the one to condemn, but you are the one to judge. And there's a huge difference. So when I've made the judgment on whether or not I can trust this person, I can go and put them into my hot area and I can, again, feed them a current of energy, a current of currency. Current of energy is your currency. You feed them that energy because you know you can trust them. You've made a decision on that. That's a yes. Now, if something happens and it's called back into the gray area, well, you got to decide again. Okay, hey. Because if you keep on having to do that, pulling somebody out of your trust zone and putting them over there, eventually, too many times in the gray area, honey, you're going to have to go on over to the cold side. I got to stop feeding you my current of energy because my currency is precious to me. It's currency. You're going to have to go on back over there. You're going to have to go to the cold side because I don't feed my energy or my currency into things that I cannot trust or people that I cannot trust. If you had an open mind, you'd be able to understand about how that works with ideas and beliefs. When you have ideas and beliefs in you that are not beneficial to you, the same way a distrustful or a person that you cannot trust cannot serve you, they have nothing that they can do for you, no place in your life. There are ideas and beliefs that you have that also do not serve you, that also have no place in your life. They're also doing nothing for you. If you hold the idea and the belief that it's okay for you to dismiss an unhealthy diet, I'm just going to use that as an excuse. You can hold on to that idea and believe that you're going to be fine and all this other stuff. You're just going to keep on doing what you do. But is that serving you? When you receive information that tells you otherwise, and you receive information that tells you that you ought to be doing better by your health and wellness, are you open-minded enough to allow that to change you and to say, well, I'm going to take this previous idea and belief that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take it out of my hot place. I'm going to stop feeding that idea my energy because I know that I'm actually not going to be fine if I continue to do this. I'm going to put that idea in my cold place, and I'm going to start reshaping my mind to know and believe that I do need to feed my currency into the idea that I need to take care of my body if I want to maintain my health, if I want to maintain my wellness. I'm going to start feeding that idea my currency because I know that that idea is going to serve me. I know that that habit is going to serve me better if I do it that way. This is how we change our lives and we construct a relationship with knowledge. We construct a relationship with our personality, our intentions, who we are. When you learn how to handle your emotional intelligence about who you are becoming. Who are you becoming? How are you becoming? What are you building? Why are you building this? You know why you want to build a better relationship with your health, because you want to have a better relationship with your body. You want to have health. You want to be able to enjoy your clothes. You want to be able to enjoy your physical ability. You want to be able to enjoy your sex life. You want to be able to enjoy confidence, extra confidence. You want to be able to enjoy life. So you know why you're doing this. You know why you're changing your mind. You know why you're changing the energy that you're feeding, the currency that you're using, feeding the current of energy. You know why you're doing that. You've been able to teach yourself, going and collecting information in your database about your health and wellness. You've learned your body. You've collected information about why your back is constantly hurting. Y'all, I got the worst back problems. And you know I'm talking about myself. You go and you find out why is it that you have this twitching in your eye that you can't get. Or you know that you want to regulate your diet or your digestive tract more regularly. So you want to go and learn about the things that you can do to have that effect or to reach that goal. You understand? So you take that information and you move on it. You move on it. I went and bought some turmeric so I can make me some stuff with this turmeric. Some natural remedies because I know my personal health and wellness goals. And I want to feed my energy, my current of energy into the idea that I want to be healthy in these particular ways that are meaningful to me. So I'm going to act on it. I'm going to give my energy to that thing and I will be changed forever because of it. Do you all understand what I'm trying to tell you? I hope that it resonates and that it gives you a clearer picture on how to get these types of results that you're looking for, because this is not easy to do, you guys. We don't always have these kinds of things on our minds. We don't always think about the building blocks of life. And how we're breaking these things down into simplistic forms of understanding, into simplistic systems where we can use the information in simple binary coding. Simple binary code, you guys. And I'm going to tell you the magic of binary code. The magic of binary code is that the user, the programmer, which is you get to assign the value of the code. You get to assign the value of the program itself. As you assign your yes and your no, your positive and your negative, your in and your out, your hot and your cold. As you define these boundaries, as you become familiar with your identity, familiar with your purpose, familiar with your emotional intelligence, familiar with your reasons. Why are you doing this? Then you become the master of these intentions. You become the assigner, or excuse me, you become the person who assigns the value to the entire program itself, meaning you give value to your own life experience, aka you create your reality. Whatever you're accepting and rejecting, this is binary code, you guys. We live in a dual universe. So there's always your perspective, and then there's the other perspective. That's binary. But what's beautiful is that your perspective remains constant. Your perspective is a constant value at any given moment. Yes, your perspective changes, but at any given moment, your perspective is what it is. And that value is what you attribute to this universe. And then other people's personality, or their perspective, rather, that's another value which you can assign your own value to it. Like, if a person has an opinion that I care for, then I will assign it a certain level of value depending on how much I care for that opinion. But if a person has an opinion that I don't care for, then I simply don't assign it any value in my program, in how I'm running my database of information. You understand? I can hear your perspective all day. I can collect the information from you all day. I can observe your brain all day. But if I don't like what's in there, I don't have to accept it. It's my binary code. I can accept or reject it. I assign the value. I determine if that is something that I want or not. Yes, absolutely. Come on, Antoine. That's it. Ones and zeros, baby. It's binary code. You assign the values. You write the program. You are the programmer. You are the one that is creating the entire reality. Exactly. Causes and effects. Exactly. It's all binary. All of it is just yes and no. Accept or reject. Either go with it or resist it. Go with the flow or resist it. This is how you're building your life experience. This is how you are enjoying or refusing to enjoy whatever it is that life has to offer you. As your environment throws things at you, you can feed it your current of energy or your currency. And you remember, your currency is the information that you are collecting, all of the light that you feed into the eye of your mind by way of learning and understanding, all that light that you feed into your mind. You are the one who directs that. You are the one who tells that what to do. You give it reasons. You give it the value. You give it the value. I'm glad I had a chance to talk to you guys, because this message was brought to you by me, but it was specifically for me. I'm going to tell you guys a little story, and I'm going to let you go. When you come to this planet, I'm going to just tell you the story of me right now. When I came to this planet, I did not have the chance to feel what it was like to have a supportive, warm family environment. My family is extremely dysfunctional, and they have been for a while. But I was adopted by the universe. Okay? That's right, Antoine. I'm glad you picked up on that. You are the binary code. That's it. You are the programmer. But I want to tell you that a little bit about this story is that I was not born into this particular environment, but I was adopted into this particular environment by the universe. And the universe had this specific task of showing me these things that I'm giving to you right now, and allowing me to see that I was protected. For a long time, I felt protected. Not because of any bodyguards or any specific thing, but I just knew that I didn't have to worry about anything happening to me. I just knew I didn't have to worry about anything happening to me. And I've always lived my life with such understanding. I don't have to worry about anything happening to me. Even though I know that things could happen to me, I'm not fearful of it. And so my mother was the type of mother who was very tomboyish. She was spoiled as a child. She was the baby of 5 children, and she could not. Instagram, I'm going to come back when this times out. So I want you to come back and listen to this story, okay? It's getting ready to time out in about 10 seconds. So just make sure you come back when I come back. The way my mom